Am I the a-hole for telling my mother-in-law I don't care about her feelings when it comes to how my kids are treated by their cousins? My husband is my mother-in-law's child from her second marriage. She has 2 older children from her first marriage, and the 2 kids from the first marriage never accepted my husband. Now, according to my husband, as kids, they weren't inherently mean to him, just very distant and disinterested in a relationship with him. But they became more unkind to him as they all got older, and my husband tried to bridge the gap. At the time, his mom was very active in trying to stop that behavior and get the kids to accept my husband as their brother. My husband said she spent a long time trying to make things work, but they didn't. When my husband was 17, his sister got married and there was a big fight at his house between his mom and older siblings, where they said nothing she ever did made them love him, and they had no interest in having him as a brother. That they were fine when they were younger because they could ignore him a lot easier, but they never ever cared for him and would have been happy had he never been born. Despite this, my husband has tried to at least keep a civil relationship with them. It has on a few occasions seen their kids at family functions. We put a stop to contact completely though, when his brother's youngest, 7, spat at our 4-year-old during my husband's grandparents' anniversary barbecue in May. This was not the first time their kids had been mean to mine, but it was the first time they straight up defended the child's action in front of everyone as it not mattering, because in their family, our kids did not matter a single bit. Mother-in-law was outraged, as were the rest of the people there, including the grandparents. But mother-in-law still expected us to try and promote a cousin relationship between our kids and my husband's siblings' kids. My husband told her he wanted to protect our kids from the rejection, and was done. She tried appealing to me as a mother, and how hurt her feelings were that her grandkids would grow on opposite side of a feud, which didn't work because as I told her that when it came to my children and how they are being treated, her feelings are nowhere near the priority list. I told her I understood it must be hard to have this happen with people you love, but she has got to accept that the family from her second marriage don't deserve to be punished for being part of the wrong marriage. She tried to dispute that, but it's true. Her kids never liked that she remarried after her divorce, and anyone born from or brought in from that remarriage is never going to be worthy or a real person in their eyes. They will always be an unwanted nuisance because of that. So it's time to cut the cord and remove that kind of energy from our lives. She's pissed that I dismissed her feelings in the way I did it, but my husband thanked me for having his back, and has been hearing from his mom that I'm an a-hole, which he told her wasn't true, and that she should listen to me. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. This is not like they got in a little pushing match at the barbecue. The kid spat in your kid's face. Kids don't naturally do that. He was encouraged to do that. His parents have taught him at a young age to hate his cousin, and that's sad. You're just protecting your kids. Also, was the second marriage the result of an affair? This type of hurt and hate isn't normal. The second marriage wasn't, no. From what I know, the first marriage ended because mother-in-law thought she could change her first husband, and anyone who knew them back then knew she was crazy and it would end badly, which it did. Not the a-hole. If your husband's half-siblings are so resentful, literally decades later, that their parents are no longer together, that they're encouraging their kids to take it out on a 4-year-old, there's something wrong with them. I can't even imagine an adult being that petty about something that happened, 25 years ago? The divorce was actually 30-ish years ago now. It confuses the hell out of me that they wouldn't take a step back and decide not to come when they hate my husband and our kids so much. Not an a-hole. His older siblings are a-holes, and while I don't think the mother-in-law is one and understand her wanting her grandchildren to get along as a family, it just won't happen anytime soon. It is quite clear her eldest children have no interest in their brother's side of the family, so screw them. I only really found out as an adult that on my dad's side, we were never really accepted, because his mom hated my mom because she was his second partner to have kids. And my grandmother's eyes, only my 2 eldest brothers from my dad's first partner were her grandchildren. We never really saw that side of the family, so it never really came up. Just figured dad didn't get along with them or they lived further away. My brother's partner added one of our cousins on Facebook from my dad's side. She was adding all the extended family basically, wanting to basically be part of the family. And was point blank told by her that she doesn't care about her, because my brother and I aren't really part of the family. And only our oldest brothers are her real cousins, or something along those lines. So that's stuff that has basically been ingrained in my cousins' heads through their entire lives, and I don't see it ever changing. It's toxic, and best to just cut them out. I don't think it'll ever happen. I see this just passing through the generations for a long time to come. The level of disdain they have for my husband and children is shocking, given the reason. Like, I have heard of people having no interest in their half-siblings or step-siblings, or even resenting/disliking them. But to the level of hatred they show for innocent children goes beyond anything I have seen before. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not returning my rings to my dead husband's family? Danielle and I were married for 1.5 years, together for 7. I received an engagement ring, wedding ring, and eternity band from him as a wedding anniversary gift for 1 year married. Danielle died in an accident, not sharing what due to privacy, at the beginning of the year, and my heart was broken. It still doesn't feel real, but I'm trying to live life the way he'd want me to every day. I haven't had much contact with his family since the funeral 6 months ago. I suppose we were all hurting and need to heal. Then yesterday, my ex-sister-in-law messaged me on Facebook. I'm a bit of an overshare on Facebook, and they knew about my eternity ring as well as the other rings. My sister-in-law wants me to return all the rings to them, as they say that Daniel paid for them, and because he has died, they belong to the family. And my mother-in-law also told me to do this too. I've already given them back his childhood stuff he had, along with photos he had before I met him. But the rings are deeply sentimental to me. I'd be okay with giving them a plain wedding band, but the 2 others are beautiful, expensive, $19,000 combined, and remind me of the best time of my life. I'd give them my husband's wedding ring, but he was buried wearing it. Now I'm getting squeezed by his family to give them these rings, and I don't know if they just want them to sell or own or what. Sister-in-law even said she will look into law if I don't give them back, and that I'm an a-hole for keeping them out of the family where they belong. Daniel and I didn't have kids, so I suppose I'm no longer family. Am I the a-hole if I don't give the rings to my in-laws? Now for the top comments. Not an a-hole. Asking for a widow's wedding ring 6 months after losing her husband is deeply messed up. I'd cut all ties with these people. Let your a-hole sister-in-law get a lawyer. It will be a waste of her money because those rings are yours. They were gifts. These people are disgusting. They aren't family heirlooms. They're just nice things they want to be able to pawn. Block all of them. Actually, I'd go ahead and hire a lawyer to send them a cease and desist letter for the harassment. The ex-in-laws have zero claim to these rings. They wouldn't have a claim even if they were heirlooms. The cruelty to a recent widow is astounding. I'd also go ahead and overshare this harassment on Facebook. Make sure you tag them as well. Not an a-hole. What? Yeah, he paid for them. As gifts for you. But as you were his spouse, his assets go to you anyway, unless he had a will that states otherwise. Where the hell are these people getting the idea they have any claim over anything of his, much less something as sentimental as wedding and engagement rings? Not an a-hole. And as for the legal threats, they can try, but they don't have a leg to stand on. They're not even his. They're hers. So awful. Honestly, your husband is gone. As sad as it is, cut ties with his family. That's so toxic. You were his wife, meaning his things now belong to you anyway. They were gifts. I hope you can get through this. It must be awful, but keep those rings as memories. Not an a-hole. I'm highly considering it. It is so strange, as this nastiness only happened after he passed. They were great in-laws besides that, but this is starting to bother me. Do not give them your rings. You may be feeling pressured now, but you'll regret doing so the rest of your life. These people are grieving, but that's no excuse for this behavior. Stand your ground. If they threaten you with legal action again, tell them you'll file a restraining order for harassment. This is not what your husband would have wanted. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for prioritizing a baby blanket for my sister's baby over my sister-in-law's? So here's the deal. My sister found out she was pregnant back in November. It was a huge surprise, but such a good one. My sister was diagnosed with PCOS and endo when she was in high school, and her fertility was badly affected. She and her husband were trying for 6 years with no success. And then, surprise! She asked if I would make the baby a blanket because I started getting into making baby clothes and blankets at the start of the pandemic, and she wanted something from me for her baby. She offered to pay me, but I said it was a gift. And I started working on it with all my spare time because I'm still learning and growing. And when we found out my sister was having more complications and this would be her one and only, I decided to pour even more into it, making sure it's perfect for my nephew when he arrives. Now that they have a name, I can even start working on the name when I've finished the actual blanket. About 6 weeks after my sister told me she was pregnant, I found out my husband's sister is also expecting. Around 3 months into her pregnancy, she shared that she and her husband were struggling with money and asked if I could make her a blanket. I was honest that I couldn't guarantee I would have one ready for when baby is born, but I would get to work on one as soon as I could, and was clear it would be a few months. She asked why, and I explained I had already committed to making one for my sister, and was still so new I was taking my time and wanted to make sure it was perfect. My answer seemed to be okay with her, but then when she found out that I was true to my word and hadn't started in the new year, she was upset. It's been a thing a lot more lately because she keeps wanting a blanket to be ready and asking me about it. She told her family she was hurt that I was prioritizing my sister's over hers, and that she felt both should get the same time and attention. I feel bad because she and her husband are struggling more now. Long story, but one of their kids has some medical issues and they've had some house issues. But she has her family, and everyone is pitching in to help, and even my husband and I have given them money to help them out. My sister just has me, and our husbands, of course. But we come from parents who don't care, and she was always the big sister who was there for me, doing stuff for me. So I want to do this for her and for my nephew. And yet, I feel bad because my sister-in-law has told me I'm hurting her by prioritizing one over the other. She called me Nahal the other day for prioritizing my nephew over my niece, which is how she sees it, and it's making me feel all the worse. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Your sister-in-law is just entitled. I was thinking the same thing. She was working on her sister's first, so why should she have to drop working on her nephew's blanket, who would be their only child, just to start the sister-in-law so it would be ready in time for her baby to be born? I'm really curious as to why she thinks her baby, which won't be blood-related to Opie and she already has a child Opie didn't make a blanket for, is more important than her sister's child, who will be her only child. It is a very generous gift Opie has agreed to. It is not needed before baby gets home. Baby can't even sleep unsupervised with a blanket, so it's not like a get this done or my baby will be cold thing. And yes, sister-in-law, Opie is prioritizing her actual sister over you. Get a grip. Not a-hole. You were already working on sister's blanket first anyways. It's common sense that you would start your sister-in-law's either later or after you finished your sister's blanket. Right. If she had been working on sister-in-law's blanket first and dropped it for her sister's blanket, I could understand her being hurt. Even then, stirring up drama wouldn't be okay, but feeling hurt would be natural. In this case, however, it's just entitlement. And I've made blankets that have taken me someone's entire pregnancy to finish. So if someone else comes up pregnant while I'm making the blanket, they'll get a hat and maybe some matching booties. I can finish that in a couple days. Not a-hole. Of course your sister is more important to you. Your sister-in-law is an entitled a-hole. Your sister asked first, and she's your sister. Keep going with your plan as you originally decided. You're not in the wrong. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to change my last name like my siblings? It's me, 16 male, and my 3 other siblings. Jordan, 19 male, my twin brother Louis, 16 male, and my sister Bella, 14 female. Our parents got divorced 4 years ago. My dad was cheating on my mom. He came out and told her, so they split. We were all mad at my dad for a while, especially me because we were always close, so it hurt knowing he did this. We didn't talk for a year as he said he'd give me space till I was ready. Then after that, we started talking again. He only had us few days out of the week, but that changed a while back. My brother and my sister decided they didn't want to go with him at all, so they're at mom's full time and he only sees them every other weekend. I'm the only one that wanted to get split custody, so like 1 week with him then 1 week mom, which they were all mad at. They still hate my dad for cheating, I get it, because to me I haven't looked at him the same, but not mad anymore because it happened already years ago. After they broke up, my mom started going out with my stepdad, Martin. They got married last year right before lockdown, but he was already living with us a long time. We don't talk much, but he's chill. They do more stuff with him than I do, but because they have more time than me, and they like him a lot. I do too. Before Father's Day, my siblings and my mom came to me about a surprise they wanted to do for Martin. And the surprise was all of us changing our last names to his. Everyone. But I said no, and said I like having my last name. They can do it obviously, but I'm not interested. That got everyone mad, especially my mom. She talks a lot of crap about my dad all the time, so she asked me why I still want to have a last name of a piece of turd. I told her he's still my dad. He cheated, but he still always tried to be a good dad, so I don't hold that against him anymore. We have these fights all the time whenever I'm going to his house, so I just got tired and ignored them. But they bugged me a lot about doing the change with them because it would mean a lot to Martin if we all did it. I wasn't even there for Father's Day. I went to my dad's, and they're mad I ruined it since they wanted it to be an everyone thing. But I'm the only one not changing my last name now. I don't know why they think I'm being an a-hole for not wanting to change my last name just because of what my dad did a long time ago already. It is not like I consider Martin my dad. But they acting like I am, so am I? Not an a-hole. Your dad might have cheated, but your mother is the a-hole for getting her kids in the middle of all of this. It's parental alienation. Yes, 100%. What Opie's mother is doing is emotional mistreatment. I hardly have a relationship with either of my parents due to alienation, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I'm sorry, Opie. I hope you have access to therapy. Not an a-hole. Not an a-hole. While your dad was a bad husband to your mom, you consider him to be a good father to you. If you want to keep his last name, that's perfectly fine. Even if your dad was terrible to you, if you don't want to change your last name, you don't have to. Yeah, like I know what he did was messed up, and took me a while to stop being mad at him for what he did. But at the end of the day, he's still a good dad. Not an a-hole. What will happen when Martin disappoints them or his relationship with your mom sours? What if Martin cheats on her in the future? I have a relative who was like this with their very blended family, basically pressing the kids to all change their last names till every single one of them did, even though everyone's other bio parent was still alive. I always thought it was not healthy. It isn't healthy. It's commonly done by people who try to raise the other parents. It's a toxic behavior often done by people who have a strange need for a partner.
Update. Am I the a-hole for agreeing to an open relationship, then sleeping with someone else? Original post. My girlfriend 24 female and I 23 male have been going through a tough time lately, and things finally boiled over in the past few days. We've been together for 3 years and things were going well for the most part. We rarely fought, and even when we did, we'd cool down and talk it out soon after. But about 2 weeks ago, my girlfriend asked if I'd be open to the idea of an open relationship. I was completely shocked at first and even thought she might be joking. She said she loves me and wants to stay together, but before we get more serious, she wants to gain more experience. I'm her first serious partner and she's been with 2 other guys before me. I told her I wasn't comfortable with it and turned down the idea. She kept pushing, but eventually backed off when she realized I wasn't going to change my mind, and I thought that was the end of it. However, a few days later, she brought it up again, this time more aggressively, and said we might need to take a break if I couldn't agree to try opening up the relationship for a few months. I felt cornered because it was either take a break or agree to this. So I eventually gave in and said we could try an open relationship. 2 days later, last Friday, I came home from work and saw her dressed up. I asked what she was getting ready for, and she said she was going out to the bar with her friends and wouldn't be back until the next day. I immediately realized what this meant and asked if she'd rather stay in with me instead. She said she really wanted to go out, so she left, and I was left at home alone, drinking and watching TV. Feeling sad, I called one of my close friends, 23 female, and told her about the situation. After talking for a while, I asked if she wanted to come over and drink with me, since I was feeling pretty down. She came over and we hung out, drinking and talking about the open relationship and how upset I was. My friend suggested that if my girlfriend was basically cheating on me, I might as well enjoy the perks of an open relationship too. You can probably guess what happened next, and I won't go into details, but it made me feel a lot better. The next morning, I woke up to my girlfriend freaking out, asking what the heck my friend and I were doing in our bed. I told her what happened, and she got mad. She said she didn't even do anything the night before and ended up crashing at her friend's house. Now she wants to close the relationship again and says I need to prove my loyalty for cheating on her. We never set any rules or boundaries, so I don't really see how I did anything wrong. So am I the a-hole for participating in the open relationship that my girlfriend suggested? Now for the top comments before reading the update. This relationship isn't equal. Just break it off. She had big expectations of her ability to pull men and wanted to get it out of her system. You didn't have to even try, so she's angry. Not the a-hole, but don't pretend this is salvageable. Yeah, I'm accepting the fact that there's no coming back from this. Not the a-hole. Your girlfriend already had her eyes on someone, and that's why she pushed for the open relationship as aggressively as she did. I call BS that she didn't do anything with anyone the night before. She got some action from someone who just wanted to get laid and was now going back to her safe boyfriend. She just wasn't expecting you to also have options. I'm visualizing this. You waking up half hungover with sleep in your eyes, she's yelling, and you saying, "What's wrong? Was this against the rules? I didn't know you wouldn't want us doing things in our bed. This is classic." My friend and I were just being drunk and reckless. Lol. I really didn't even consider she would be mad at what I was doing because it's exactly what we agreed to. You are the dude. Your relationship is probably over, but you really gave her a taste of her medicine. I salute you. I did what had to be done. This relationship is cooked though. Not the a-hole. Dump the girlfriend and date the friend. Update 2 months later. A lot of people were asking how the whole situation played out, so I wanted to give an update. It's been an incredibly hectic month, but things have started to settle down and I'm ready to share what happened. First off, my girlfriend and I officially broke up a few days after my original post. It wasn't pretty. She kept calling me a cheater and telling me what a POS I was for cheating on her. I put up with it for a few days while I tried to figure out what to do, but eventually I snapped. I should have kept my cool, but I told her, "You're genuinely the stupidest person I've ever met for thinking an open relationship would work out. It's your fault everything blew up." I explained that I played by her rules, and it wasn't my fault that I found someone to hook up with faster than she did. She claimed she didn't want to cheat on me. She just wanted to explore, and that I should have understood. We argued in circles for a while until I finally told her to get out of my apartment. I'm the one who pays rent and has my name on the lease. I had to threaten to call the cops before she realized I was serious. Of course, she broke down crying, saying she had nowhere to go and that she loved me and wanted to make things work. But I stood firm and told her to leave. Once she was gone, I immediately felt better and realized that the relationship had been terrible for me. The next day, I called up my friend, the one I slept with in the original post, and asked if she wanted to come over, drink, and play some games. She said yes, and of course we ended up hooking up again. My ex came by the following day to pick up the rest of her stuff, and let me tell you, she was not happy to see my friend there. She didn't start anything, but it was obvious by her behavior that she was seething. After that, my friend and I started talking more, and eventually I asked her out. She said yes, and we've been together for about a month now. To say this relationship is healthier would be an understatement. We've been friends for a long time, and I think we both always had a bit of a thing for each other, but we never acted on it until my ex basically handed us the perfect opportunity. We have a lot more in common, and we communicate so much better. So far, this relationship has been amazing. Thank you all for the advice on a previous post. I really appreciate it. Not the a-hole. She was clearly not on the same page about the open relationship and tried to manipulate you with accusations and guilt trips. You held your ground, and it sounds like you ended up in a much better situation. Yeah, I'm a lot happier now. I'm confused about what your ex thought being in an open relationship meant. She goes out and have her fun, while OP stays at home and wait for her. Not the a-hole. I guess your ex thought that she would be the only one sleeping with other people, but it did not go according to plan. But as soon as someone brings up opening the relationship, it's already over. But here is something to watch out for. Your ex will now try to make you look like the bad guy. Don't let her control the narrative. And talk to your friends, her parents, your parents, everyone that you both know, why you broke up. Don't expect your ex to just accept this. She will try to destroy you if she can't have you. My friends never really liked her, so they didn't believe her anyway. And my current girlfriend is part of my friend group. And my friends have told us that they always knew we'd end up together, based on how well we got along and how much we have in common. Next story. Am I the a-hole for ending my engagement because of his demands about our prenup? I, female 37, recently received a lump sum for a career project that turned into a full-blown company. I entered into an agreement with another company that's been reselling my services through out-licensing and long-term corporate partnerships. When I signed the paperwork, I felt I had a chance to build a solid financial future while keeping my personal life intact. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case, and now I'm seriously considering breaking off my engagement. My fiancé Sean, male 43, and I have been together for 4 years. I met him when I was in the final stages of building my business, which has been the driving force in my life. Between that and my family, I barely had time for anything else, including dating. But when Sean came along, I was completely swept off my feet. He had a great sense of humor, and I was really attracted to him, both emotionally and physically. Sean is divorced and has average office skills, working for a small government agency. The salary gap between us didn't bother me at first. I was investing most of my money into my business, and my personal priorities, like taking care of my family, were non-negotiable. Sean and I were both struggling financially when we met, and he was briefly on food stamps. But I was happy to be with someone who didn't pressure me to be someone I wasn't, unlike my previous relationship where my ex criticized my appearance and style. We even tried starting a small consulting company together, but it didn't work out. I noticed that Sean wasn't ready to co-manage, and after a long conversation, we mutually decided to drop the idea. When Sean proposed, we had already talked about a prenup. It wasn't a surprise, and even if I had nothing, I saw it as a way to protect us both. I work in a niche market dealing with loss prevention, and I've seen how quickly things can turn legal. However, when we started drafting the prenup, things became tense. Sean shut down during our second meeting with a lawyer, and nothing we had previously agreed on was being followed. He started making more demands and raising the bar on what he wanted. He even hired his own lawyer without telling me, which would have been fine if he had communicated it, but he didn't. Things escalated when he demanded that I give his daughter shares of my company. That was a firm no from me. I started the company long before Sean was in the picture, and I built it to secure a future for my own kids. I will not create a trust fund for his child either, something else he asked for during the prenup discussion. I did agree to help his daughter financially by contributing to her education, paying for health insurance, and giving her an allowance. She's 18 now and has a successful mom who is also contributing, but I offered to help with some of her expenses. However, none of this seemed to be enough for Sean. He kept pushing for more, and I started feeling like nothing I did would ever be good enough. What frustrated me the most was that Sean didn't have a plan for contributing to my children's future. When I asked what he would do for my kids, he was silent. So I asked if my kids' names could go on a deed to a piece of land he owns but hasn't been able to develop. He was shocked and accused me of trying to take away his daughter's inheritance. I was just trying to make him see my perspective, but it only made things worse. Our relationship has deteriorated since then. We used to be able to talk openly, but now every conversation feels sarcastic and bitter. He's called me greedy and accused me of not caring about his daughter. He says I've shown my true colors and claims I've been dishonest about how I feel about his child. His last messages have been especially hurtful, and it's making me question everything. I love his daughter, but I didn't raise her, and she has a mother who is actively supporting her. My kids are still in grade school, and I need to prioritize their future. I'm not opposed to helping all of our children, but I can't be the only one contributing, while Sean makes no efforts for my kids. Now, canceling the engagement seems like the most sensible option. I'm devastated that it's come to this, and I didn't expect our relationship to end this way. My best friend is furious and wants to put him on blast if he keeps up the hurtful comments. Am I the a-hole for prioritizing my kids' future and standing firm on my boundaries? Now for the comments before the mini update. Sounds like his true colors are finally showing, now that it's down to the wire. He tried to strong-arm you into things for his benefit. And when you wouldn't do it his way, threw a fit. Honestly, you dodged a bullet. I have a feeling this has been his game plan all along. You're successful, he's not. You've got money, he doesn't. I mean, the writing is on the wall. Ex-wife is apparently wealthy too. He most likely targets them. Male gold diggers exist too. Ex sounds extremely well off. So why would her daughter even need OP to give her an allowance and help pay for a car? OP shouldn't have offered, but did right thing, kicking his manipulative gold-digging mooch to the curb. Not a-hole. He's a 43-year-old man with an adult child who has an active mother and father. She shouldn't even be a consideration in your prenup. You owe her nothing. No house, no car, no trust fund, and definitely no shares in your company. She's not your child, and you didn't raise her. For me, your post sounds like you have the love goggles on and haven't been seeing all the red flags for the last 4 years. He's showing you his true colors. If you have stay with him, stay unmarried. You're giving his 18-year-old daughter, who has 2 parents, one of whom is well off, an allowance and help paying for a car. And you're going to pay her health insurance and contribute to her college housing and her tuition. And your fiancé is pitching a fit that is not enough? And the way he rolled up with his own lawyer to start making demands on your money? Balls, man. Dude sounds like a grifter. Update. I broke up with him since the whole deal felt like a bitter divorce rather than a step towards married life. Last story. My 36 female fiancé 30 male wants to be added to my mortgage/title of home, but I think is being unreasonable. Am I the a-hole? My fiancé is really upset that I won't add him to the mortgage or the title of the house I'm buying for us. He's not putting any money down because he has a lot of student loan debt and can't help with any of the home improvements either. I'm older than him and make more than twice what he makes. It's nothing personal. I would never kick him out, but I've worked really hard and made smart financial decisions to get to this point. I'm even taking money out of my retirement savings to use as a down payment. Honestly, I can't even add him to the mortgage because his debt-to-income ratio is way too high. He has more debt than he earns each year. He feels like this means I don't see us as a team. But I've always paid for most things when we go on vacation, like rental cars, hotels, and most of the food. When we lived together, I paid for more rent, groceries, and other things. I'm even paying for our wedding in full. I paid for my own engagement ring because he couldn't afford it. He's planning to pay me back when he gets further along in his career. I know he would pay for things if he could, but I don't feel comfortable putting him on the title or mortgage right now. I just don't think it makes sense. And I also want to protect the investments I've worked so hard for. He's a really good guy, just broke. Has always been, but I know that won't last because he's very motivated and finishing school soon. What do you think? Am I being unreasonable? He was really upset when I told him I wouldn't add him to the mortgage or title. And it would also mess up our interest rate and borrowing options because of all his debt. He keeps saying I don't see us as a team, even though I pay for so much and never complain. I don't lose sleep over it at all. I've always seen us as equals. Not the a-hole. He has no shame. When he starts earning and is debt-free and ready to contribute to the household, you guys can have that discussion then. That's how I feel. Once his debt is reduced and he has a solid income. Correction. Later on, when he can come down with the same down payment you put down, then only if you wish you can add him. However, with what happens nowadays, I wouldn't. What's yours before marriage is yours after the marriage. You worked really hard and were smart with your money. Don't put your future at risk when you don't have to. Also, prenup. Him insisting on this matter is a red flag, and I wouldn't consider going ahead with the marriage. Maybe I should look into prenup more. Not the a-hole. It wouldn't be a sound decision to add him for all the reasons you stated. When his career takes off and he gets his DTI under control and can contribute to the costs of the mortgage and maintenance, then it would be reasonable to consider refinancing under both your names and adding him to the deed. In the meantime, if you don't have a will, you could have one drafted where if you pass during the marriage, he will inherit the home via probate. It gives him a measure of security while still protecting your interests and assets. This is great advice. Thank you. I will share these ideas with him. Part of being a team is contributing financially as well as in other ways. It sounds like financially he will only be paying off his debt initially. Until he starts contributing financially to your team, keep finances separate, including the house.